Hey, welcome my brothers and sisters, my galactic brothers and sisters, and my universal brothers and sisters to another episode of Electrical Theology, Esoteric Life Coaching. I am your host, Charles, and today will be a recording for Tuesday, and this is about mediumship. And today will be a pre-recorded for Tuesday mediumship. We'll take off what we did last week. If you didn't watch my episode last Monday, Tuesday, because I sort of combined them. We started talking about the different locations that our relatives and ancestors come in. We also talked about taking the esoteric elevator or the celestial elevator, whatever you want to call it, to go to the higher realm and get our bodies used to not only communicating but being able to synthesize, if you will, their vibrations into our cellular matrix. And remember that this is just a show of esoteric information. It shares divine knowledge for the purpose of connecting, communicating, and interpreting cosmic information. Not only the vibrations of planets we can interpret, we can also interpret and download divine messages from ancestors through the galactic neighborhoods, the divine, the elementals, right? And this whole channel is about helping you not only make sense of what's coming through, that it's neither good nor bad, evil or dark. It's just information. No more than any radio station is evil or dark. From the essence, the electricity running through it, no matter what the person on the other end, or the DJ, VJ, or whatever is talking about, the DJ or VJ could be talking about something that may be in a negative light or a positive light, but the essence is that the information that's traveling is through the electromagnetic spectrum. And this is what I'm getting y'all used to, is understanding it's not really supernatural in one sense, but to open our mind up that it can go beyond and tap into higher frequencies. And once you can do that, some do it automatically, they were born with it, but you can practice it just like you can the piano and become good. And once you become good at it, then you need to start understanding the protocols of those realms. They each sort of have their own individual ways of operating, just as you would going into a lawyer's office or a medical office. They operate differently, and they have different protocols. So just like the ancestors on the other side and divines, they all have their unique way of communicating. And I'm here to teach you how to get used to that. Hopefully you can see this chart where we picked up from last week about, and I said I would be discussing further the details of this information about when people come in from the ancestral side. Now today we'll continue with the ancestors, not so much the divines and higher, but we can definitely look at the ancestral. These colors will tell you what heavens they went into. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch last week's video. So when people come in around me, if I have a client in front of me, or I'm talking to them on the phone, or I'm talking to an ancestor on the other side, they have a hue, right? Because at once they were a hue man. And as a hue man, I was able then to identify vibrationally what frequency they went into. Just as we can shoot a laser through a prism or a lens out to outer space, we can tell how much oxygen, nitrogen, helium, and so forth that are on planets, because of the spectrum will come back red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet. It will tell us how much of each oxygen, nitrogen, or ingredients is more or less depending on the wavelength of the colors. So same thing here is when I can connect with someone on the other side, I can see what their wavelength is. I can see their hue, if you will, much like some people can see people's auras. Well, in this case, I can see the ancestors when they come in around you, or if I'm on the phone talking or Zooming you or whatever, I can still see those energies come around you. I don't have to be there presently. I can see them on the electrical highway, all right? But let's say that this client's in front of me. So if a light and me and the other side, the ancestors, have an agreement, come in as a ball of light. Because one, it's the easiest for them to form back into, because that's what they are, is just an ion, if you will. And so to fully manifest back into the physical takes a whole lot more ions, a lot more magnetism, and a lot more electricity. Right? That's why when you go ghost hunting or whatever, and you have a lot of batteries, they drain the batteries because you're using that, especially if there isn't any other electricity. And if there's not batteries, you're going to use your energy, and then afterwards you're going to feel drained. And if you have a negative perspective about this, you'll think you've been possessed, or they drained, or they were vampires, psychic vampires. It's not. It's just that they're only using what energy is around, because you're asking, hey, can you show me who you are? Well, I'm trying to reduce all that excess energy draw, and then be able to just have them come in as a ball of light. And depending on where they come in, again, the left side, the left side is going to be mother's side of the family, right? I know this is the right side of the board, but just go with left or right because it alternates. But anyway, the left side of my body is the mother side of the family. So up top, above someone who comes, if the light comes in above their head into the mother's side, then I know it's probably a grandparent or grand uncle, somewhere in the grands. If it comes in beside them, if that client's there, then it's probably their mother, right? Their mother, uncle. So the grandparents is on the higher, on this chart is on the higher, and then about when they come in equal to me, then it's going to be the parent or the uncle or something like that, and the mother. And if a mother comes in blue, I know the mother's in the blue heaven, so I know how much time I can spend with her. If an energy comes in red, they only have so much time before their energy allowance will fade out. And we can only talk for a short second on there, and I can keep it boosted up for a lot longer, but again, they still have theirs. I got to make sure that we're not overburning them on the other side. And then the oranges can hang out a little longer. They got a few more minutes, if you will. Yellows can hang out a little longer. But let's just say the blues, let's say your mother comes in a blue circle or blue orb around this person, then I know I can talk to her for, a good, we'll say 5-10 minutes. And again, we got to keep our client in mind, because that energy is coming through, the mother's coming through, and my energy's high, that's going to have a adverse effect on this client's body, right? It's going to draw more electricity, right? So by having the energy coming around here, I immediately know who it is and what frequency they're on. So I don't have to waste a lot of minutes going in. Who are you? What are you? All this stuff. I can immediately say, hey, I'm getting a mother figure that's coming around you. So not everyone necessarily had a physical mother with them. The mother could be a stepmother. It could be a mother-like figure. It could have been a father who acted like a mother. So that's why I say mother-like energy. So there's a mother-like energy that I see coming around you. And they passed recently, right? Because they're close. And if they're far away again, it's been a while. And again, we'll get into the details, and this will be in my advanced classes that will be on extended videos, or a membership fee. But I will give you a good in-depth to get you started, that if you want to start calling in beings from the other side, then you will know what frequencies or realms they're coming from or having. So once we have that information, then I can start having a conversation. And we'll get into how to have a conversation or validate or verify that it is them in fact coming through, or if it's just some pre-recorded information. Just like if you call someone on the phone and there's a message, a pre-recorded message, we're talking to the person, but we're not. It's a pre-recorded. It's not live. So sometimes we can get a pre-recorded information that's been put on the Akashic records or the universal recording, but it may not be live. But I can tap into and get information off those archives, right? Because it's archives, right? Or the hives, or the hive-minded, because it's a collective of energy, of recordings, just like the database or the government monument libraries that record everything, right? It's one hive. It's an archive. And so I can retrieve that as an archivist or a medium. I can get into those recordings. Now I can also, if that person's on the other side or beings, I can talk to them live. A live presentation. They're presenting themselves in the live. It's not a re-presenting. It is the live. Well, let's continue. So on the shoulder side, it's going to be a brother, sister, or cousin energy, the mothers. So it can be a mother's. So if this is my client in front of me, the mother energy comes in up here, I know it's mother. If it comes down here, then I know it's going to be my client's brother, sister, cousin, or a really close friend, right? Now, close friends will come in behind the head. That's why I told them to go ahead and align. And they can be very close. If they're hanging right over your skull, I know they were a very close friend. If it's further off, it may have been someone from your childhood, they were a close friend. But I'll know who that is, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. I can put little ions here and I'll know. So let's go now to the middle of your body. And again, we're still on the mother side. And so this is going to be one of your siblings or cousins that have passed as well. This is going to be older cousins. This will be a younger cousin, or if you're 25 years old and your sister's 10 years old, then it's going to be a younger in that realm. And again, depending on what color they come in, I'll see that color. Now, if it's way down here by the feet or around the ankles and stuff, I know it's a past pet. And yes, I do get pets that come through. Again, they're not really pets, they're just energies. They were a pet when they came in here. They donned themselves an animal suit and played as an animal for a while in the animus realm. But I will see the pets come in here because most pets are around the kneecap below. Yes, there are some bigger or lower. Yes, I know some people have different snakes as pets and giraffes and whatnot. We're just going to keep it as domestic dogs, cats, stuff like that. But these will come through because the client won't dare hear anything from a loved one on the other side. Only the pet. For whatever their reason, they only want to hear from the pet. It could be a validation process for them that I'm speaking from the pet. Now, once I have that, then we can open up to the rest of them. Because this human here could have had really bad issues with some of these relatives or ex-partners and whatnot that they don't even want to talk to them. But because they're still holding on to stuff here on Earth, we have to address some of those issues. But they won't even hear about me bringing in Uncle John, who was or improper with her. They won't even hear it. So I have to go, the pet's the only thing that they'll listen to at first. And once I do that, then I can slowly bring in these other issues or other relatives who have other information about why they are the way they are and why they're even coming to see me. Now, in the middle here, if the light's around their ankles, right, around their feet, I know that this was a fetus. This fetus did not complete their passageway here to Earth. Right? It was an energy that did not manifest completely here on this physical realm. And this could be a miscarriage, it can be any other things. But whatever that is, that energy didn't make it all the way. It didn't manifest fully into this physical realm. And I'll see this light. And yes, this light a lot of times will be higher vibrating. Or it could be low vibrating depending on the circumstances. And we'll get into a ceremony called Claiming Back Your Light. That'll be a special class I'll offer later. It's to be able to claim back energy that you may have given to someone else, either as blame, fault, or out of love, to help them. And now the same thing is going to be on the father side. We talked about the fathers a little bit. So this is just a basic chart of how to tap into who's coming around. So you can even go back in old ceremonial videos, Christmas, Easter, stuff like that. Look at kids, look at people. And you'll see that there's orbs around them. You may have thought it was just, a bad film or something. But look closely over kids, you'll see orbs, and see if you can tell what color, and then that way you'll know what relative came in, or what energy. If they're around here, around the child's or your head, then we know it's someone equal to you. If it's down here, we know it's a younger sibling. Right? Does that make sense? So hopefully this chart's going to help you begin the process, and it's just our first chart to begin the process of understanding who's around us so we don't waste a lot of energy. Because it's a lower frequency energy, we're not going to be able to get too much information too quick, right? So it may be a wasted session in one sense. So the quicker we can already have our ducks in a row and be prepared for when that light comes in, we know immediately who they are, where they are, and how much time they have. Right? A lot of times this will be accompanied by a tone. This could be an A, B, C, D, E, F, G tone. If you're a musician and you hear a high, then you may know that that relative's coming in here. You may not see the orb, but you can feel. And if you can feel an energy come into the room, immediately, if you're a musician or if you're good with musical notes, immediately go through A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and see if that light matches the frequency that you're hearing. And then that will give you an indication of how long we got to communicate. All right, we'll talk about more about this later, but this will be a nice short video for you today. But hopefully this helps, and then we'll see you next Tuesday on mediumship as well.